The $100,000 source of truth. Years ago, I was responsible for producing reports that ultimately went to Wall Street. The company had invested more than $100,000 in a custom database. It was supposed to provide a cleaner and more precise view of the business, but something did not feel right. Our reporting did not align with what other analysts were providing. The numbers were not reconciling the way I expected. So I started digging. Some products were dramatically understated. Some were overstated. Some items that appeared in the standard database were missing from our custom database. There were gaps that could materially change how someone interpreted the performance of our business. I ended up spending at least 20 hours a month cleaning it up, reconciling differences, and trying to understand what was really happening. Think about that. The company had paid more than $100,000 for something intended to create a better source of truth. And the tool still needed someone who understood the business well enough to recognize when the answer did not make sense. That is the lesson. The software was not necessarily broken. The people were not necessarily doing bad work. The problem was that the business was trusting the output without enough operating context. I don't share that to brag about finding a database issue. I share that because these blind spots exist in every business. They exist inside expensive spreadsheets. They exist inside retailer portals. They exist inside custom databases. They can even exist inside the most respected platforms in the industry. I have found issues in tools built by other companies considered to be the gold standard. In one situation, correcting a problem they didn't even know existed helped uncover a new revenue source and a stronger point of differentiation for them. The point is not that every platform is bad. The point is that no platform is perfect. And when the margin for error gets smaller, you cannot afford to confuse a polished report with a complete answer. This is especially true for smaller brands that don't have the luxury of purchasing a customized database. So they are forced to look at their portfolio in isolated segments, even when the items are right next to each other or on the same shelf. I have a solution for that. That is why this episode is so important. Blind spot number 1. The data is accurate but incomplete. This is one of the easiest problems to miss. Every number shown on the report may be accurate, but what's not shown? Perhaps an item is missing. Perhaps a retailer is excluded. Perhaps distributor shipments are being mistaken for consumer purchases. Perhaps promotional timing is not aligned correctly. Perhaps a product transition is splitting performance across 2 UPCs. Perhaps one report captures natural channel performance while another captures conventional retail differently. Perhaps the brand is celebrating sales growth without seeing the margin that was sacrificed to generate it. An accurate number can still tell an incomplete story, and an incomplete story can lead to a bad decision. Blind spot number 2. The data is organized around the database, not the shopper. This is one of the most important lessons I learned in category management. Databases are not always organized the way the shoppers shop. With every brand I've worked with, products are often merchandised next to each other on the shelf. A shopper could stand in front of that section and see a group of products serving a related need. But inside the syndicated data, those products could appear in different categories. On a recent project, the items were merchandised together on the same shelf from the shopper's point of view, but they were in 17 different categories in the standard database. Let that sink in a moment. The database saw individual classifications. The shopper saw a solution. That distinction matters, because when the data is organized around a generic category structure, it can hide the relationship that actually influences shopper choice. All the items within a category that the shopper sees can interact. Sales from one item can boost or blunt other items when the product assortment's changed. That matters a lot when working with retailers. I built a robust custom tool that brought multiple data sources together and reorganized the information through a shopper-first taxonomy. We created retail-ready views and deeper analytical tools that allowed us to look at products, categories, opportunities in a more useful way. The taxonomy is a data hierarchy, how the data is organized. Simply put, when a shopper stands in front of the category, what influences their decision? Shoppers see only the snack category, while the databases break each section into their own distinct category. That work helped us identify a white space for a reimagined chip before launching. It helped us think about flavor, size, retailer fit, category placement, competitive framing, and shopper need state. We were not simply asking, where do chips sell? We were asking, where does this product fit in the shopper's life? What is it competing against? And how can it create a new reason to buy? That is a very different question. And the quality of the question changes the quality of the tool. The question is not whether the data is correct. The question is whether the data is organized in a way that reflects how the shopper actually makes a decision. Blind spot number 3. Every department is optimizing in isolation. This happens constantly. Sales is trying to grow revenue. Marketing is trying to increase awareness. Finance is protecting margin. Operations is managing inventory. The broker is trying to close distribution gaps. The distributor is trying to manage movement. The retailer is trying to grow the category and protect productivity. Every group can be doing its job. Every group can hit its own individual metric, and the business can still become weaker. A promotion may grow sales but compress margin. A new retailer may expand distribution but create costly execution problems. A new SKU may increase the brand's total sales while stealing volume from an existing item. A marketing campaign may generate attention without creating repeat purchase. A sales team may win more doors without securing the right items in those doors. A deduction team might recover money without fixing the process that created the deduction. That's what I mean by optimizing in isolation. The dashboard says one area improved, but the larger business did not. Retailers do not operate in isolation. Shopper behavior influences velocity. Velocity influences retailer confidence. Retailer confidence influences distribution. Distribution influences inventory. Inventory influences promotion performance. Promotion performance influences margin. Poor execution creates deductions. Deductions affect cash. Cash affects runway. Everything is connected. The reporting system needs to help the team see those connections. Blind spot number 4. The report arrives after the decision has already been made. A lot of reports are rearview mirrors. They show what happened last month, last quarter, last promotion, last retailer review. That information matters, but the shopper already made their decision. The retailer already made their decision. The promotion already ran. The cash already left. The deduction already appeared. The inventory already went out of stock. The opportunity is not to eliminate historical reporting. The opportunity is to use history to improve the next decision. That is where many dashboards fall short. They summarize, they display, they organize, but they do not help the team reroute. The best decision tools help answer what is changing, why is it changing, where is the risk, where is the opportunity, what do we need to do before the next event, shipment, retailer meeting, or commitment. Reports show what happened. Retail clarity shows what to ask next. This is why I built the Retail Clarity Framework. It is a way to move beyond one-dimension reporting. There are 4 lenses. The first is the internal lens. What happened? Sales, velocity, distribution, margin, trade spend, deductions, inventory, retail execution. These metrics tell us what the business did. They matter, but they're only the beginning. The second is the shopper lens. Why did it happen? Did the brand bring in new shoppers? Did repeat purchase improve? Did the shopper respond to the promotion or merely buy earlier than they would have? Did price sensitivity change? Did the product solve the same need the shopper originally hired it to solve? Did the shopper move to a private label? Did they move to a different size, flavor, format, or channel? The third is the category competitive lens. What influenced the result? Did a competitor launch an item? Did the retailer change the shelf? Did another brand fund a promotion? Did the category definition miss a new source of competition? Did distribution move? Did the retailer change its pricing strategy? Did a new item take space visibility? Did the brand's assortment become inconsistent across retailers? The fourth is the predictive lens. What should we do next? Where should we invest? What should we stop funding? Which gaps matter most? Which retailer deserves attention? Which items need support? Which promotion windows create the best opportunity? Where is margin leaking? What can we prevent before the next short pay, out of stock, or missed commitment? That is the difference between a report and a decision tool. A report gives you information. A decision tool helps the team choose an action. Start with the decision, not the spreadsheet. One of the biggest mistakes teams make is beginning with the data. They open the file. They pull every available field. They create charts. They add filters. They build a beautiful dashboard. Then they ask what they should do with it. I would reverse that. Start with the decision. What question does the business need to answer? Not, what data do we have? Ask, what are we trying to understand? Are we trying to determine which promotions create profitable growth? Are we trying to find the most valuable distribution gaps? Are we trying to identify why one retailer is underperforming? Are we trying to understand where deductions originate? Are we trying to determine which item belongs in the core assortment? Are we trying to see whether a new product created incremental demand or transferred volume from somewhere else? Are we trying to help the COO see what is driving profit or loss? Once a decision is clear, that can determine what data is required. That sounds simple, but it changes everything. 5 questions to ask before trusting your next report. Take one report your team reviews every week or every month. Ask these 5 questions. First, what decision is the report supposed to make easier? If the answer is vague, the report may be informational rather than operational. Second, what is missing from the picture? Items, retailers, channels, timing, margin, promotions, shopper behavior, competitive activity, execution. Third, does the structure reflect how the shopper and the category actually work? Or is the business simply accepting the category definitions that came with the database? Fourth, what other part of the business could change the interpretation? A sales increase can look different after a trade spend. A distribution win can look different after velocity. A promotion can look different after incrementality. A deduction can look different after the root cause is identified. Fifth, what action should become clear after reviewing it? If everyone leaves the meeting with another request for analysis, the tool has probably not finished its job. A decision tool should reduce debate, not create more of it. That does not mean that everyone must agree immediately. A huge blind spot for brands is when each department and manager wants to look at the data differently. Same data, but from a different perspective. This is the fastest way to increase decision confusion, and it always sends teams down competing rabbit holes. Strong teams should challenge assumptions, but the tool should help the team focus the debate. It should make the important exceptions visible. It should expose gaps. It should show priorities. It should help the team see where to look first. And it needs ownership. One of my favorite parts of building tools for brands is training the team how to maintain it. I do not want the company dependent on me forever just to refresh spreadsheets. I want the system to become part of how the team works. That means the logic must be clear. The taxonomy must be understandable. The process must be documented. The users need to know what the tool can answer and what it cannot, because software alone is never a full solution. A strong tool combines the right data, the right question, the right business context, the right owner, and the discipline to keep it current. Your reporting may be the bottleneck. Founders often assume the bottleneck is a lack of data, so they purchase another platform, they request another dashboard, they add another report, they ask the broker for another spreadsheet. But what if the reporting is making the business slower? What if the team is spending hours reconciling numbers instead of making decisions? What if every department is looking at its own version of its performance? What if the report explains past but doesn't help protect the next promotion, shipment, or retailer conversation? Then the bottleneck is not access to information. The bottleneck is decision clarity. When the margin for error gets smaller, clarity becomes your competitive advantage. Not because clarity guarantees the perfect decision, it does not, but it gives the team a better chance to see the risks sooner, to spot the opportunities earlier, to stop funding what's not working, to protect margin, to reduce preventable leaks, and to focus scarce time and resources where they can actually create the most value. Doing this alone will give your brand a competitive edge because most brands don't have the discipline to bake this into their SOP. The practical next step? Here's what I want you to do next. Choose one report your team relies on. It may be a sales report, a promotion recap, a broker update, a distributor report, a deduction tracker, a category view, an executive dashboard. And then ask, what decision is this supposed to help us make? Does it answer that question? Does the team still debate after reviewing it? What part of the business is missing? And what would we need to see earlier to make a better decision next time? The unresolved question is the opportunity. That may be where your next decision tool should begin. This is also the best way to identify, quantify, and plug decision leaks in your business. Consider this. I recently created a decision tool page on retailsolve.com. That's retailsolve.com/decision tools. You will see examples of tools designed to help CPG teams understand sales, distribution, promotions, deductions, retail performance, and category opportunities more clearly. These are not generic dashboards. The goal is to turn messy retail information into a practical next decision. If your team has a report that it relies on but still debates what to do next, send me the report or simply describe what you're trying to understand. Tell me the decision it does not answer, and I will let you know honestly whether a custom decision tool makes sense. Again, that is retailsolve.com/decision tools. The spreadsheet is not the product, the decision is. To recap, your dashboard may be working exactly as designed. Your data may be technically accurate, and the answer can still be incomplete. Do not assume that more data automatically creates more clarity. Start with the decision. Understand what's missing. Organize the information around the shopper, the category, and the way the business actually operates. Then build a tool that helps your team see what to do next. Because when the margin for error gets smaller, clarity becomes your competitive advantage. Thanks for listening to the Bulletproof Your CPG Brand podcast. If this episode made you think differently about one of your reports, share it with someone on your team. Then ask one question. What decision does this report still not help us make? Connect with me on LinkedIn. Message me. I read every one. I'll see you next time. You can download the show notes for this show and get the free download at retailsolve.com/session330.